Actually, I had the privilege of meeting Stanley, Professor Stanley Rodriguez, like 2 years ago, I think, because my very good friend, Carmen Quintana, Dr. Carmen Quintana, who's here with us today, invited me to do a sweat lodge with, I had never done one, and this is Stanley who led the sweat lodge. I thought I was going to die every single round. I really, truly thought I wouldn't make it. But he was an excellent teacher. He was an amazing teacher. He walked us through it, and we were very, very grateful to him. Anyway, after the fact, we started talking, and it turns out that he does a lot of the same things that with the same passion that we have for education and facilitating learning for students in the community. So I asked him if he knew about our conferences, and this is how he got involved. So 2 years ago, he agreed to join us, and he got such great evaluations. The public was so enamored by him that we asked him if he would honor us again this year. Professor Stanley Rodriguez teaches at the Kumeyaay Community College at Camp Pendleton, and also at the reservations. And today he's going to talk about his people. So if you could welcome him with a round of applause.
Okay, Penyamati Pecham. Yang Stan Rodriguez ni Sheikh the Matko Pag Uskonan. Pinya Hilikoi Putnaji Chaway Pigi Putnaji Akui Matmer Mayum Yagipe Pitai Pigi Numeral. Mi nombre es Stan Rodríguez y yo soy de Reserva de Santa Isabel. Y ahorita muy feliz porque nosotros podemos platicar de esta clase de cosas. De mi gente, los Kumeyaay, que vive aquí y también en Baja. My name is Stan Rodriguez. I'm from the San Isabel Indian Reservation. Any of you ever been to San Isabel, Julian? Mm-hmm. San Isabel, home of the 495 prime rib? So that's where my family is from. I also have family over here in Old Town. My family used to own the tamale factory. So, if any of you know those. If any of you know those people. Okay. So, what I'm going to be talking is a little bit, and I notice there's people out here that have dressed up in, traditional attire from the periods. As you can see, my attire right now is about 2004 BC. Before casinos. This is what I got before we opened ours. So, but I want to talk to you a little bit about my people, the Kumeyaay. And I'm going to try to keep this without going off on a tangent. But how many of you ever heard about my people, Kumeyaay? Yeah, all of you. How many of you ever gone to a casino? How many of you ever gone to the San Isabel Casino? Teacher's pets. Okay. So,
I'll go tomorrow.
all right, come tomorrow, come over. So, first thing I want to do is I want to talk about my people and our people's beliefs. I'm going to talk a little bit about our history. And the way that we talk about our history is we talk about the creation story. So, Hiyay in my language means a long time ago. So, Hiyay, what does that mean?
Really long.
Long time ago. Before there was anything. There was the creator, Yokumat, and made a younger creator called Tuchapa, like a younger brother. And there was nothing here. It was like another dimension, kind of like salt water, but it was different. That's how the people explain it. So, who knows why the creator wanted to create? But that's something that the Creator left in all of us, because we have that need to create also. We got that from our Creator. He decided they were going to make the universe. So the older one pushed the younger one through into this, I guess this where we're at now, some people would call it dimension or whatever. made it in here, but the younger one kept his eyes closed. And the older one said, I'm ready to come. What do I do? And the younger one said, keep your eyes open. When the older one came through, the older one came through blinded. So there was nothing. It was kind of like water. So they knew they had to make the universe. So with hakapawo, with tobacco, they blew to the Ketush and to the north. And then they blew to the Tawak, the south. They blew it, so it expanded, but then it fell apart. The younger one did that. So the older one said, let me help you. So the older one blew into the Ketush, and then blew into Tawak, and blew in Inyak, and the Wit, the north, the south, the east, and the west. Mai, Kwai. And it started to expand like a bubble. That was how the universe was made. Some people say this is a myth, but if you ask physicists today, they'll tell you that our universe as we know it is expanding like a bubble. How did we know? But anyway. And then it was all like water. There was no land. So what happened was they made a chimit, an ant, and that ant started to bring up dirt from the bottom. Started bringing it, started piling it. Pretty soon, the earth as we know it started to become made. It's growing, 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 growing. And that's why today we use that ant to heal us, because it's got power. So with all these, they needed light. So they got, the younger one got white clay and rolled it up into a ball. Blew into it and made the moon. Put it up in the air, but it was very faint, the light. He felt bad. The older one said, let me do it now. The older one grabbed yellow clay, rolled it up, made it into a ball, blew into that, and it burned. It burned, it became hot. It was a fire, and it left a mark on his thumb. That is called a matau, the mark of our soul. Because if you notice, all of us humans, we all have that mark too. That's when the Creator brought the soul. So the Creator flung it up in the air and said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to keep this, and then we'll use the moon later on. And there's another story that goes with that. So anyway, all the animals that were made, the different ones, they made the shpunk, the whale, and they put the whale up in the mountains, and they made the mu, the mountain sheep, and they put the mountain sheep in the hasid, the western salt water. And they weren't doing too good where they were at. So they switched them. They started making other animals. They started making the hakapa, which means the dog man. And there's stories about him. And all the animals got together. They had a council. And they started talking about, what are we going to do? So, back then, everybody was immortal. Everything was immortal. So, because they were immortal, they also needed to do something else. They needed to eat too. So the only thing that was there to eat after all these things were made, they were eating the earth. So they started to devour the earth, the land. They had an emergency council meeting. They said, what are we going to do? If we continue going where we're at, there's going to be nothing left. So the Creator brought 3 choices for them. You can either live forever, or you can live for a while here, and then die and go someplace else, or you can live for a while, die, and then it's all over. Choice number 1. How many of you would pick number 1? Live forever. Okay. Nobody? Nobody? Okay, one person.
this one.
All right. 2. You shake the tree, apples will fall. Okay. How many of you would pick door number 2? Live for a while here, die, and then go someplace else. Some of you. Okay. How about door number 3? Live for a while here, die, and it's all over.
I know.
Okay. Well, what happened was that the animals were all debating this. What are we going to do?